Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Color Craze. Today's inspiration is this beautiful jewel-toned palette. I don't really know what that is a close-up of, but it's really cool looking. So I chose to go ahead and use those jewel tones. And what I did was I went to the Creative Fabrica site and I typed in hot air balloons. And I found these hot air balloons and I went ahead and printed them out. So you can type in hot air balloons, you can type in watercolor hot air balloons, hot air balloon illustrations, but if you just type in hot air balloons, it gives you everything. So there were several options, and choosing was kind of difficult, but I decided to go with these three. And then what I did was I brought them into my Silhouette studio so I could kind of figure out what size I wanted them, and once I figured that out, I was able to bring them into PowerPoint and just print them on 8.5 by 11, and then I fussy cut them out, including the watercolor stuff that is like expanding beyond the actual hot air balloon, because I thought that was cool. And then I have this photo of Noah, and he's sitting in this little tiny chair. He's kind of lounging in it, and so I don't really want the background to be dark or visible. Well, not visible, but I don't want it to be to stand out. So I printed it in black and white, and I printed it in color. You could change that on several different apps, but in this case, it just worked better for me to do it this way. I was having trouble getting my app to work right, and so I just said, you know what, I'm going to print it in color and I'll print it in black and white, and then I will just cut him out. And I actually popped him up onto some foam tape and stuck him right on top of the black and white photo so he's in color. And then I took this paper, which is from Close to My Heart, and it's just their white cardstock. I bought a 100-pack of it to try it out, and I've never used it before. I wasn't really sure how it was going to take mixed media, so I thought I'll just go ahead and play with it, and if it doesn't work out, it's just a piece of paper. It's not a big deal. I am using my Gonzai Tombae Watercolors from Amazon. They're a pretty good price point. They're like $40 or slightly less, and I'm going to go ahead and use those to create a little bit of mood and background behind my my hot air balloons. And so I'm kind of going with that pinky color because the purple color wasn't really so much in the inspiration piece. It's more of that burgundy kind of a color. So I am pulling that in, but I do put a little bit of purple in to kind of tie it back to the balloon, which has a little more purple than it does the burgundy color. And then I am mixing up some colors on my watercolor palette there to get that really dark navy, because there's not a really good navy. It's a brighter blue, and I wanted it toned down a little bit, so I added a little bit of black to it to kind of tone it down. And then I am just going in with it really light, so a lot of water and a very little pigment. And in order to get the effect that I end up with here, that's what I do is I start with a lot of pigment in close to the object, and then I start dipping my brush in water and not picking up any more pigment, or if I do pick up pigment, it's because I've actually rinsed my brush out, and I am just going lighter and lighter and lighter all the way around, and I'm not using a ton of water. Like there's not water pooling up on the page at all. It's just soaking right in. And I'm liking how it's looking, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to get the entire effect that I like. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to play with it. And if I end up having to pull out my watercolor pad of paper, I will do that. But at this point, it's looking pretty good. I mean, it looks like a hot mess there without anything on top of it. But once you lay those hot air balloons over top of it, it looks great. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised and super happy with how it came out. Now I did want some deeper tones of green, and so you can see I'm adding a little bit more pigment to those areas. And then I'm going to splatter the whole thing with gold. And that first one, I was just trying it out to see how the gold looked on top of that green, and I knew that part was going to be underneath the biggest hot air balloon. And so then once I liked that, I decided, okay, I'm just going to go and sprinkle a whole bunch more of that gold over it, and I like the way that it looks. And then I'm just going to play around a little bit more with expanding that green just a tad bit at the bottom so that it extends a little bit further out. And same with the blue. I just want it to extend a little bit past where those hot air balloons are. And I'm liking how that looks. And I apologize for the shadow on the screen. It's because I'm holding the hot air balloon kind of above it, and then you're getting the shadow of that and the shadow of my arm. Okay, once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and back the entire thing with black. So I cut it down 1/8 of an inch on all 4 sides, or 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides, whichever way works best for you. And I'm using liquid glue today. Usually I use my ATG, but because it's a mixed media and it is kind of curling up, I decided to use some liquid glue, and that allows me to kind of shift it around a little bit on that black background. And then I put a pad of paper that I got at a crop right over the top of it just to kind of hold everything down. That pad of paper I just came home with me from a crop. It was like a prize type deal. And so I was like, okay, I'll just use that. To kind of hold it in place until the glue settled. And that works really well because it keeps it nice and flat, and doesn't allow it to move around. And so it's pretty flat when I am done with it. And there I am popping Noah's picture up onto the foam tape. And I am pretty happy with the way that looks. And while I go ahead and glue these down, I'll remind you to check out MK's channel. I can't wait to see what she does with this color combo. She's really amazing at everything she does, but I love watching her work with these jewel tones. So I really can't wait to see what she does with it. It's a beautiful color palette, and I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. So I'm excited to see what she does. And today, since I'm not using any pattern paper, we won't have chosen anything that was the same. So that's kind of exciting too. I am using this thinner foam to pop up the blue hot air balloon, and then I'm going to use the thicker foam to pop up the green one so that it gives more depth and dimension, and it looks like the smaller the balloon is, the further away it is. And back to MK, check out her channel. It is listed down below in my description box. Every day that we do Color Craze, I have listed her channel down below. So go and check her out and see what she has done as well. So I just wanted to say that. And I will also provide the links to these hot air balloons down below in my description box, as well as the font that I'm going to use for the title, because it also came from Creative Fabrica. I do have an affiliate link for them. It's going to be in the box down below as well. But if you hit the direct links to either the font or the hot air balloons, it'll still give you the affiliate. It's still an affiliate link. So all of the links are good. There is also a subscription that you can sign up for Creative Fabrica. The first month, if you do it through my link, you get a deal, and it's like $1 for the first month, and I think it's $19 after that, and you get access to pretty much everything that they have, which is thousands and thousands of fonts and images. And a lot of those images are either stuff like printables or SVGs. So there's so many things out there that you can find for your scrapbooking adventure. So if you're interested in hybrid scrapbooking, it's a great way to get started. It's also a great way to get some cut files that are a little bit different. So check that out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put a layer of the thinner foam on the left-hand side of the balloon, because it's already going to be on top of that blue balloon, which is already about half the distance up, or as thick as the black foam that I'm putting on there. So just making up the difference with the thinner foam there. And again, just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, which is my favorite glue. I think I might say that in almost every video. And so the story with this little chair is, and there's not a lot of embellishment that goes on this page, because everything, the balloons and the watercolor do a lot of the work for me, but I am going to journal in that bottom left-hand corner, which I know a lot of people would be like, oh my gosh, you're going to ruin the page. But you know what? I want my journaling on there because I want the story told. And if I had thought about it, I could have created a pocket behind the photo for it to slide out, but I didn't. So I just went ahead and wrote right on the top. So my title I have cut on my silhouette, and I'm using a font called Embrace Happiness. And sorry, I had to look that up. I could not remember the name of it, but it's called Embrace Happiness, and it has a lot of extra letters that come with it, and so it takes a little bit of work to pull them in because they have extra swooshes and that kind of stuff. Creative Fabrica does have a link on how to use them, and what I did was I pulled everything into into Microsoft Word, and I saved it as a PDF and then pulled it into Silhouette and cut it because I was having trouble getting the extra letters that have the swooshes and stuff on them to come into into Silhouette Studio properly. But I really love the way that it came out. I love those swooshes at the beginning of the letter and at the end of the letter, and I think it looks super cool. The font does come with both the word, the swooshy stuff like in the word legend. It also comes with the font for Comfy Cozy Couch, or Comfy Cozy Chair. The story that goes with the chair is years and years ago when my daughter was just not maybe a year and a half old. I bought her. She must have been just a year old. I stopped at a corner where these people were selling these little rockers, and I bought it for like $20. I bought her one, I bought my niece one, and my friend's little boy one. And at the time, it had like this orange and navy blue fabric on it, and it had teddy bears all over it, and it matched her teddy bear themed room. And so she has had that little chair since she was like a year old. And when she had Noah, my mom decided to pull it out of the attic and recover it with this new fabric. The fabric that on the chair is hot air balloons, and that's why I went with hot air balloons for this layout. So you can see it in the close-ups. You can see it when you look at the page, but on the screen you may not be able to see that those are hot air balloons. And so my mom recovered it, and it is now Noah's chair, and obviously he likes it. You could see him. He looks like he's actually asleep in that chair, but he's not. He's actually watching an educational TV show. So, and then I pulled out my little tiny tile stickers, or tile letters. They're not stickers. Those are from Paper Tray Ink. They no longer make them anymore, so I apologize that you cannot get them, but any little tile letter sticker would allow you to do something like this. So my title is just The Legend of the Comfy Cozy Chair. I'm not really sure how cozy it is, but it sounded good, and so that's the title. And I really like the way that it looks. To get my letters to be gold, you saw me brushing something on them, and that was some Liquitex ink in gold, and it dried a lot faster than I thought it would. Like by the time I got to the end of the second word, the first word was already dry. And so it took a little bit of work to get it pulled out of, or pulled off of the mat, because I did it while it was stuck to the mat so it wouldn't warp. But then the ink kind of blends over the outside of the letter onto the regular paper that you've just cut it out from, which kind of makes it stick back together again. So it takes a little bit of extra work, but it was definitely well worth it. And there I'm writing the story, and here come the close-ups. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have questions or comments, as always, leave those down below. I am more than happy to answer them. I just may not get back to you right away. So never fear, I will answer them if you actually ask me a question. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.